The rental market in the United Kingdom is experiencing something unprecedented right now, and if you're a tenant, this could fundamentally change how you find and secure your next home. Property landlords across the country are walking away from the rental business in record numbers, and the ripple effects are already reshaping the entire housing landscape. What we're witnessing isn't just a temporary blip or seasonal adjustment. This is a massive structural shift that's been building for months, and it's accelerating at an alarming pace. The data emerging from property agencies, letting specialists and housing associations tells a story that most tenants haven't fully grasped yet. But here's what makes this particularly urgent for anyone currently renting or looking to rent. The implications go far beyond just having fewer properties available. We're talking about fundamental changes to how landlords screen tenants, what they expect from rental agreements, and even which types of properties remain in the rental market at all. The exodus began subtly, but recent surveys reveal that nearly 40% of landlords are actively considering selling their rental properties within the next 2 years. That's not just thinking about it casually over coffee. These are serious intentions backed by concrete financial planning. What's driving this mass departure tells us everything about where the rental market is headed. Let's start with the regulatory pressure that's mounting on landlords. The government has introduced wave after wave of new requirements, from energy efficiency standards to licensing schemes, and many landlords feel overwhelmed by the compliance burden. Properties that were perfectly acceptable rentals just 2 years ago now require thousands of pounds in upgrades to meet new standards. Take the energy performance certificate requirements as an example. Landlords must now ensure their properties meet minimum energy efficiency ratings, and improving a property from an F or G rating to an acceptable E rating often costs between £3,000 and £8,000. For landlords with multiple properties, especially those with older housing stock, this represents a substantial financial hit. But the regulatory burden goes deeper than just energy efficiency. New licensing requirements in many councils mean landlords face additional annual fees, mandatory training courses, and regular property inspections. In some areas, selective licensing fees can run several £100s per property annually, and that's before considering the time investment required for compliance. The tax landscape has shifted dramatically as well. The gradual removal of mortgage interest relief has hit landlords hard, particularly those who borrowed heavily to build their property portfolios. What used to be a fully deductible expense is now subject to basic rate tax relief only, meaning higher rate taxpayers face significantly reduced returns. Interest rate rises have compounded this problem. Many landlords who secured buy-to-let mortgages when rates were near historic lows are now facing renewal periods where their monthly payments have doubled or even tripled. The mathematics of rental yield simply doesn't work for many properties anymore. For landlords who purchased properties in recent years, the situation is particularly challenging. Those who bought at peak prices with high loan-to-value mortgages are finding themselves in negative equity situations where selling would result in substantial losses. Yet continuing to rent means accepting poor returns or even monthly losses. This financial pressure is creating a cascade effect throughout the rental market. Landlords who might have previously accepted slightly lower rents to secure good tenants are now pushing for maximum market rates. They're becoming increasingly selective about who they'll accept as tenants, often favouring those with higher incomes, perfect credit histories, and substantial deposit amounts. The supply squeeze is already visible in most major UK cities. Average time to let has decreased significantly, not because demand has dropped, but because there are simply fewer properties available. In competitive areas like London, Manchester and Edinburgh, good rental properties are receiving multiple applications within hours of being advertised. This scarcity is driving rental prices upward at rates that many tenants are struggling to absorb. Year-on-year rental increases of 10 to 15% are becoming common, even in areas where such rises were previously unthinkable. The traditional annual rent review is being replaced by more frequent adjustments as landlords seek to maximise returns from their remaining properties. But the changes go beyond just price increases. Landlords are becoming more risk-averse across every aspect of the rental process. Where they might previously have accepted tenants with minor credit issues or those between jobs, they're now insisting on gold standard applications only. This means higher income multiples, often requiring tenants to earn 40 or 50 times the monthly rent annually, compared to the traditional 30 times multiplier. Guarantor requirements are becoming standard, even for tenants with strong financial profiles. Many landlords now insist on guarantors who own property themselves rather than just meeting income requirements. This creates particular challenges for young professionals or those without family support networks. The types of properties remaining in the rental market are changing too. Smaller landlords, often those with just 1 or 2 properties, are most likely to exit the market entirely. These were typically the landlords offering more flexible arrangements, accepting pets, or willing to negotiate on terms. What remains is increasingly dominated by larger portfolio landlords and institutional investors who operate with stricter policies and less flexibility. Professional property management is becoming the norm rather than the exception. While this can mean more efficient maintenance and clearer communication channels, it also typically means less personal relationships between landlords and tenants and reduced willingness to accommodate individual circumstances or requests. The shift toward professional management brings standardized application processes, credit scoring systems, and automated decision-making. This can speed up the rental process for applicants who meet all criteria perfectly, but it creates additional barriers for those who need any form of special consideration. Regional variations in these trends are significant. Areas with strong rental demand and limited housing supply, particularly university cities and major employment centres, are seeing the most dramatic changes. Rural areas and smaller towns may experience different patterns, with some seeing improved tenant choice as urban investors look for better yields outside major cities. Scotland's rental landscape faces particular pressures due to additional tenant protection legislation and rent control measures in certain areas. While these policies aim to protect tenants, they're contributing to landlord exits in affected regions, creating unintended supply shortages. The quality expectations for rental properties are simultaneously rising and becoming more standardized. Landlords remaining in the market are investing in property improvements, both to meet regulatory requirements and to justify higher rents. This means better energy efficiency, modern appliances, and improved decor in many rental properties. However, this quality improvement comes with corresponding rent increases. Properties that might have rented for modest amounts with basic furnishing and older appliances are now either being substantially upgraded with higher rents or removed from the rental market entirely. For tenants currently in secure tenancies, the landlord exodus creates both opportunities and risks. Those with understanding landlords who aren't planning to sell may find themselves in increasingly valuable positions, particularly if they've built good relationships and maintained properties well. But tenants also face the risk that their landlords might decide to sell, potentially forcing moves in a market with fewer available alternatives. The traditional assumption that good tenants can easily find comparable properties is no longer reliable in many areas. Looking ahead, several trends seem likely to continue shaping the rental market. Build-to-rent developments by institutional investors may help fill some of the supply gap, but these typically target higher-income tenants and offer less flexibility than traditional landlords. Government intervention seems probable, whether through additional tenant protections, landlord incentives, or direct housing provision. However, policy responses often take time to implement and may have unintended consequences that further reshape the market. The rental market transformation we're witnessing represents more than just a cyclical adjustment. It's a fundamental restructuring that will affect how millions of people access housing. Understanding these changes isn't just useful for tenants planning their next move. It's essential for anyone who wants to navigate what's becoming an increasingly challenging rental landscape. The landlords who remain will operate differently, expect more from tenants, and offer less flexibility than many renters have come to expect.